Greetings and salutations, my birders, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles? I think that's what this game's called? So last time, we were still doing the tutorial case. Our main character, Naruto, what's his last name? Is accused of murder due to the fact that he was holding a gun at the time when everyone was looking for a gunshot. The deceased is the English professor, or the overseas professor from Great Britain. You know, I can just look at the court record. Can I not look at the court record? No, I can't. Anyways, he's accused of murdering a foreigner on Japanese soil after Japan and Great Britain has just signed a treaty. So the government wants this case to be over and done with quickly. No matter, and just kind of want a scapegoat to send word back to Great Britain to say like, oh, we got him one day because we love our relationship with you. Please don't hate us. Yeah, just watch it. Always VOD. It's all there. So we also learned that Dr. Wilson, I want to say his name is. I wish I could see the freaking. Dr. Wilson got his tooth extracted, I think, that day. So he could not eat. As such, this picture of a steak means that it is not his. So let's present the medical report card.
Yes.
Well, I think what are you wittering, lad? About what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer. I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryudosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright. And thanks for the advice. Daigyakuten-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. Oh, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection!
Dear me! Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel.
But
let's see if I can explain it in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant.
But that's, Remember, Rinosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who...
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that?
What? That outburst have petrified me, boy! Of course I believe it! How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hota Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating?
Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat? So what?
It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that can't...
Kurikuta-san! What, boy, what? Just as you just heard, when he was killed, sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally,
There's more.
you have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthesia. Expertly done, partner.
Objection!
What? What is this nonsense? You little upstart! These are baseless accusations! Just look at this photographic evidence! You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic?
How dare you!
I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Rinosuke? Yes, most definitely. So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel. Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it! So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been an as yet unknown third party. obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes!
There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it.
Egg.
We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly. Kazuma.
Are you insane? You would take on the government?
Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you.
What do you mean?
I have issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What?
What are you talking about?
We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury.
Perjury.
And, since it is a murder trial, you also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No!
Hold it! Negative. There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders.
That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they, told us. Oh. What? What did you just say, Koraikuta-san? Oh, no. You were just following orders? No, hold on, lad. I was, Say you never saw the gentlewoman?
Grrr.
When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What?
Objection!
What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements?
Oh, he's not in on it?
Is this true, you pair?
Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not! The prosecution knows nothing of this!
Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Well,
That's classified!
So, you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you?
You wouldn't? This can't be happening!
Rinosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, To wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? Before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait! Your Excellency! I had no idea about any of this! I swear to every Shinto god! I knew nothing!
And what does the defense have to say about all this, well, Your Excellency. No time to think. Should I check it now? I can. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. It was the police! Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! I actually didn't realize that. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. Well, let's face it. The police have a lot of power and influence. And if they're wielding it somehow here... The waiter's business card information has been updated in the court record. A sketch of the restaurant's layout on the back. On the front, it's stated that Hosonaga-san is a police inspector. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is Satoru Hosonaga, the head waiter of the European-style restaurant La Carnival, and Chief Inspector of the Imperial Police Bureau.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san, the waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence.
For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter.
What? If he truly were...
Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity, as proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we could conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. The waiter's profession? But sure, that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau.
What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene?
Well... Inspector Hosonaga! I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility.
The court would like to take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence.
Oh, well...
Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once.
Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course. Your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes. There have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover.
Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents?
That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide.
Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga. But you will elaborate on one point for the court.
Of course, Your Excellency.
We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct?
Correct, Your Excellency.
Unbelievable. As I suspected.
As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim in the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an English woman.
So the truth comes out.
I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the borough. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say? Remove the English woman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the English woman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this English woman was a killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue the idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of this relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. You name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect. Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question.
So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case.
But it's not right.
One possibility does spring to mind.
What do you mean, Kazuma?
Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. And I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young English woman.
What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean... When I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first.
Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector.
The young woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty. What? What is happening here? Oops. I admit that, under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene. And order these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to your excellency to decide how to deal with this situation.
Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection!
But, Your Excellency! That would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourselves, councils. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom.
Arg!
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes, sir.
you will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency.
But that would mean you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem? Nothing will get in my way. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student, Giselle Brett, to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes! Your Excellency!
Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. Wow. I don't think I'm really surprised like how long the first case is. I don't think any Phoenix Ace Attorney game had a to be continued in the first case. 22nd November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendant's Antechamber 5. Excellent work, Renosuke. That was superb. Ugh, my heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat. Your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. Just like last night. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer.
Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the insides of a courtroom again.
Ha 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 ha! Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she?
That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There's a young woman with him. Like I've been saying all along.
Yes. Yes, you have, haven't you?
I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I'm sure of.
Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that?
No, I didn't see any of it.
I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up, I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot came from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective. He apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. There you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes. It seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I want to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise. If I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyways. What? What are you saying, Kazuma? So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA. And it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I have no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight. Right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow, before those old fossils know what hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed in me, or believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd have already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. (22nd November, 12:09 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 2. The Court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Ouchi, have you managed to subpoena... Oh wait, no, subpoena, isn't it? Subpoena the witness.
Yes, Your Excellency! Against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Well, you still think think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders?
Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan? Or of England's?
Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny I'm no expert, just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system, and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett.
Yes! Your Excellency! Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan! And from such a distant land!
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussions take place without tea. Is that true? Ah, is that true? No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at La Carnival, but my true...
Yes, we all know about you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first.
Is that true?
No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes. I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, If we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... What? The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in UMA University's medical faculty. Oh my! What a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. Haha. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rally you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Rinosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if it may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct?
Me. She says yes.
This could take some time. So, even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? Racial slur.
She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately.
Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape.
I was just following special orders from the bureau. Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was very frightening and sorrowful sight.
Do you mean to say?
Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood.
Order! Order in the court!
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. A frightening and sorrowful sight.
I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Yes!
Condemning testimony.
No! I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all!
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard! And look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe.
You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's the lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying.
Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go.
The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however.
Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit she is today. As you can see, there's nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm.
I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. Ugh! That's ridiculous! If only I was allowed to lift her up and lift up her dress, I could prove it!
Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke.
I didn't fire the gun I picked up! There must have been another gun there that day.
You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we will need to pull her testimony apart. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. A frightening and sorrowful sight.
I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Professor Wilson that day.
Yes!
After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue, isn't that right? No. Ugh.
A decisive English no has quite the sting to it.
The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together.
But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first.
Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right.
Actually, does that say when he's appointing fish? Some kind of medical treatment. There's an entry for the day Professor was killed. Instruction was used with the use of anesthesia. Decayed tooth removed. Probably used laughing gas so he couldn't feel anything. It's the latest medical advance in the West. Yes, I've heard people talking about this new idea. As I could possibly imagine not being a cautionary note says no food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. Doesn't tell you yet. Okay, doesn't say when. God damn it. Doesn't say when his procedure finished. That's right. Miss Barrett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes. That all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic! What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is!
So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak.
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at Hada Clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Barrett aware of this fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Barrett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left?
Dear me, what a harrowing experience! To have traveled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. Other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes. The professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Rinosuke? About the witness's last statement? It's very meaningful. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case.
Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing?
The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well, sidestep, counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience. I'd hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Rinosuke. I'd ordered a beefsteak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water.
Yes!
So both you and the professor drank this carbonated water, did you? Yes. Being the waiter, I poured 2 glasses myself. I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective. And the beefsteak. That was for you, Miss Brett? Elise says that she'd heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Yes, that's true. What a frightful place, is the lady's opinion. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, what does it matter what it is? True. Come to think of it. The first time I tried carbonated water, it was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. But anyway, back to this witness's statement. Somehow, I feel like there's something out of place in what she's saying. We need to pounce on we need to pounce on even the slightest thing now. Because you never know what might lead us to our goal. Our goal of turning this trial around. Understood, Kazuma. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument.
Yes!
I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did was, when I noticed him, was go over and to say hello.
Please, don't get angry with me.
No, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor.
I'm afraid your words are in vain.
Sorry?
Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese.
No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. English is the future. We must all speak cool English.
I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever. Or only in the presence of a beautiful woman.
Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat.
That part ties in with what you said, doesn't it?
Yes. I still have some coffee to drink.
And the next time you got up after that was when I'd finished my coffee and stood up to leave.
Not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes.
Yes!
Like I said, I did not shoot that gun.
And like I said, there's no point repeating that assertion over and over.
Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side. I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side. Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. Well, yes, that's true, but all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes, there was someone much closer to the victim than me at the time. The highly suspicious lady in the stand. That will do, you dirty rotten scoundrel. Dirty? Your baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy.
It seems to me that your accusations are just as baseless as ours.
What nonsense! The lady is merely stating what she saw.
And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned. Anyway.
I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I could have been the culprit.
Yes!
It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it?
Absolutely. I verified it personally.
You verified it?
Yes. Immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not."
That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector?
No.
Why on earth not?
The honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. There was obviously no need for any further probing into the matter.
Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps?
Think what you will. But if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that the refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts.
In other words, he wants evidence. Ugh.
Meep. The lady wishes to point out that, of course, she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation. But she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave.
Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there.
Not get her out of there. I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime. Which is why she is only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You can at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you.
So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor, at the end of which you shot him. Which is an out-and-out, total, unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform.
I'm dressed exactly the same way as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons.
Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even with your thick skin. Even you with your thick skin must be able to feel the murderous look you're getting from around the room. Only too well. I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony isn't making me feel any better, either. The first thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and opening will present itself, I promise you. I need you to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination. Did I already press this?
Yes!
There was only one glass in the picture. That's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this
photographic print? Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Well, it's odd. Very odd.
Dear me! What's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you?
Well, obviously, it's the cheers.
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1.
You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia? What possible difference does the presence of or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence?
Of course not. I would never do something so reckless.
But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you trying to tell me you can clink with only 1?
You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table.
Inspector, what did the lady say?
It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she's saying.
Good gracious!
Sorry.
There! As I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray? That's absurd. Oh, really? So, do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief? What?
No. This can't be put down to mischief.
I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene.
It
would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag he was carrying.
A handbag, you say?
Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So, the beautiful lady has graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations! You have wasted enough time already.
Indeed. The lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for defense. Counsel for the defense. Are you in agreement?
Well, I don't know, really.
You really want to pursue this matter further? If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance.
Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away from her in her handbag. If there's a deeper significance there, it's the handbag. She had a handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But, what if she forgot to mention... What she forgot to mention was her handbag. Really? Yeah, weak slap. In which would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun.
You're right. Well done, partner. I have a feeling you pick up on that too.
What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard?
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga!
Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
Oh.
Order! Order! Order!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask.
Do you think so, Kazuma? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I have to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. Ah. This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag.
Well, I never. You can see right through you can see right through to what's inside.
That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment.
So the contents are clearly visible.
Exactly. So, there was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Ugh! As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping me prove that point, Naruhodo-san.
Order! Order! Inspector Hosonaga, will you submit that print as evidence? You will submit that print as evidence at once.
Certainly, Your Excellency. The photograph of the handbag has been entered into the court record. A photograph taken by Hosonaga-san after the incident occurred. It shows Miss Brett's handbag on a chair by the victim's table.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted into the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed! There is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma?
I'm sorry, Rinosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue.
What? You mean... this is it?
Hoo-hoo. I must say, you put up quite the fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your harsh content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? And Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma.
What?
Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around?
You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest, which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all.
That smug little... Rinosuke Naruhodo, having considered all of the evidence placed before me, I hereby find you... Wait! Your Excellency! Rinosuke?
I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection!
This amateurness is getting tedious. When his Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his rulings. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, then the ruling on this case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
This is blatant straw clutching! Look at this photographic print! All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
You'd better know what you're doing, Rinosuke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it.
Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response, here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded. This bold tattoo on the victim.
Yes!
Look at this here. There is a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me! I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say? On the victim's wrist? Clearly, that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right.
Go on, Inspector.
The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Ouchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn.
Meep, 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 meep.
Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Ryosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful.
Yes, you're right.
I am?
If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brent's face.
Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means.
So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an extradable. Executable? No. Extricable. Okay, can make process as well. Connection between the victim's burn in this case, in this trial.
Yes!
What's this, counsel? Yet another print?
Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy! If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
The hot plate.
Yes!
The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on.
The place? Ah! Oh!
Your Excellency, are you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. Ah! This emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Renosuke, you genius!
You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Ouchie, the chances of that are extremely slim.
thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga?
I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And, although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, just as the defense pointed out. It was no mild burn, that's for sure.
Can you be more specific, Inspector?
Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds.
It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then.
I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation. But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that.
And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day, or any before it.
That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either.
What are you suggesting?
Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate before 3 seconds that day.
That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel.
Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antique dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ouchie? Him? Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream?
I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think?
Can it really be true? I never dreamt that we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap.
And we'll find out what that trap is next time!
Whew.
What a turnabout! What excitement! What fierce slamming of the table! So, probably next stream we'll finish this case and then start case 2. Guys, I don't think it's much more than this, but it's probably gonna take like at least 50 minutes for me to read it out. So, we'll end it here for today and continue on another day. Until then, thank you everyone who joined me today, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!